before the world demands another ounce of your precious, sacred energy, before the notifications pull you back into the chaotic, demanding matrix of other people's emergencies, and before your beautiful, exhausted mind begins its endless cycle of analyzing the past. I need you to simply stop. I want you to take a deep, intentional, completely sovereign breath right now. Please do not skip this step. Do not rush past this moment of vital recalibration. Inhale slowly, drawing the air deep into the lowest, quietest part of your stomach. Hold it there for just a heartbeat, feeling the vital life force expanding your physical vessel, and then exhale as if you are releasing the physical, suffocating, bone-deep weight of the entire world from your tired shoulders. Let your jaw unclench. Let the muscles behind your eyes soften. Unfurrow your brow. Drop your shoulders away from your ears, away from the defensive, hyper-vigilant posture you have held for so incredibly long. Notice how this tiny, deliberate act of presence already shifts the atmosphere inside your body. Notice how your nervous system begins to quiet down, recognizing that right here, right now, you are safe. You are entirely safe in this space. You are seen here, not for the immense, draining emotional labor you provide for others, not for how much you can fix, and not for how much trauma you can endlessly absorb, but simply for the beautiful, radiant, undeniably worthy truth of who you are. And most importantly, you are understood here in a way that entirely bypasses logic, bypasses the endless, spinning rationalizations of your mind, and speaks directly, intimately, and powerfully to your soul. We are navigating a profound, highly complex, and utterly revolutionary energetic intersection, the 12th of April, 2026. Listen to me very carefully, and let these words sink into your bones. This is not a day for half measures. This is not a day for spiritual bypassing, for making excuses, or for surface-level observations. This is a day of staggering, explosive, and life-altering reclamation. The energy of April 12 is a cosmic trial by fire, a shattering of grand illusions, and a massive, solid gateway to absolute, untouchable sovereignty in love. On this specific, destined date, we are experiencing a deeply intense, highly specific cocktail of planetary events that are directly targeting the very foundation of your heart. The fierce, blazing, aggressive planet of Mars is forming a direct, exact conjunction with the hazy, deeply spiritual, illusionary planet of Neptune in the fierce warrior sign of Aries. And at the exact same time, Venus, the ultimate cosmic queen of love, beauty, and self-worth, is leaving the fiery, chaotic battlefield and entering her home, the deeply grounded, unshakable, profoundly stable sign of Taurus. This is not a gentle, passing breeze. This is a cosmic hurricane designed to permanently tear down the false, draining structures of your romantic life and replace them with a fortress of absolute self-respect. This is the exact moment where the exhausting war for love finally, permanently ends, and the era of undeniably demanding your worth begins. When these specific forces collide on the 12th of April 2026, it is not a gentle suggestion from the universe. It is the absolute final eviction notice for the shadows living in your heart and the ghosts you have been fighting for. For the past few months, or perhaps for the past several years, you have been functioning as a spiritual warrior, fighting a completely invisible war. Because of the heavy, complex energy of Mars approaching Neptune in Aries, you have been living in a hazy, deeply confusing, and highly addictive fog of spiritualized combat. You have been doing exactly what an unhealed, fiercely loyal empath does. You have been aggressively fighting for an illusion. You have been putting on your heavy armor every single day, wielding the fiery sword of Aries, not to protect yourself, but to defend the potential of a partner who was entirely committed to their own darkness. You took the raw, primal, assertive energy of Mars, and instead of using it to build your own empire, you let it dissolve into the Neptunian fog of someone else's unhealed trauma. You looked at a partner who gave you the absolute bare minimum, a partner who offered you breadcrumbs of affection wrapped in thick, suffocating layers of confusion, and you used your brilliant, beautiful, deeply intuitive mind to paint a masterpiece of destined connection over their glaring, undeniable red flags. You told yourself they were just misunderstood. You told yourself that beneath their coldness, beneath their avoidance, beneath their profound inability to show up for you consistently, there was a deeply wounded inner child that only you could save. You became a tireless, energetic addict of the savior cycle. You constantly, relentlessly explained away their bad behavior, telling yourself that their defensive distance was actually a sign of how deeply they felt for you, and that their toxic intensity was actually a past life bond that you were cosmically contracted to navigate. You took the heavy, dense, suffocating energy of their emotional unavailability and you called it depth. You fell in love with the spiritual battle. You fell in love with the high-stakes, exhausting game of trying to love someone so hard, so fiercely, and so relentlessly that they would finally have no choice but to heal. You have been living in a romantic fantasy, a cosmic waiting room, keeping a chair pulled out and a candle burning for a version of a person that simply does not exist in physical reality. You have been putting your entire, beautiful, vibrant expansion on pause, shrinking your own blazing light and dimming your own magnificent magic just so they would not feel intimidated by your glow. You have been holding your breath, waiting for the cinematic, miraculous moment they finally drop their defensive mask, realize your immense, staggering value, and love you without conditions. But as the profound, heavy, and completely exhausting energy of the Mars and Neptune conjunction peaks on April 12, the fog is breaking. The grand illusion is shattering. And as this frequency washes over your spirit, you are going to feel a deep, undeniable, and staggering exhaustion. You are going to feel the literal, physical, and spiritual fatigue of carrying someone else's heavy, unhealed, emotional baggage on your back while they comfortably refuse to walk. The heavy, suffocating need to fix the darkness. The desperate, clawing need for them to finally understand your worth. The burning desire to fight one more battle for their soul. It is going to suddenly, quietly, and entirely stop. You are going to look at the massive, exhausting mountain of effort, the tears, the compromised boundaries, and the vital life force you have poured into a connection that has given you nothing but anxiety in return. And you are going to feel the sudden, intimidating, incredibly liberating realization that you are completely, utterly, and permanently done. The Mars-Neptune conjunction is stepping in, taking your exhausted spirit gently but firmly in its hands, and forcing you to look at the brutal, liberating truth: you cannot fight a war for someone who has already surrendered to their own shadow. You cannot use your fire to warm a house that has no walls. You will finally, truly realize at a cellular level that their inability to love you cleanly, the manipulation, and their profound refusal to step into the light had absolutely nothing to do with your inherent worth. It was never, not for a single second, a reflection of your inadequacy. It was a glaring, blinding, unmistakable reflection of their own internal cage. They could not meet you in the blazing light of your truth because they were too terrified to leave the comfortable, familiar darkness of their own unhealed wounds. And in the exact moment that you drop the sword, in the exact moment that you surrender the illusion of who they could be, the most miraculous, breathtaking, and grounding shift occurs. Because just as the fiery, exhausting illusion of Aries burns away, Venus, your heart center, Your core of self-worth and receptivity proudly and majestically enters the luxurious, unshakable, earthbound realm of Taurus. Listen to me carefully, because you must understand this distinction. Venus in Taurus is not about fighting for love. Venus in Taurus does not beg. Venus in Taurus does not analyze mixed signals at 2 in the morning. Venus in Taurus does not accept potential, breadcrumbs, or empty, poetic promises. Venus in Taurus is the absolute, unquestionable embodiment of radical, grounded, physical self-worth. When your heart enters this frequency, you are experiencing the profound, intimidating liberation of emotional solidity. The era of you being the sacrificial lamb for someone else's chaotic potential is permanently, irrevocably over. You are going to feel a vast, radiant, grounded warmth spreading through your chest, moving down into your root chakra, anchoring you firmly to the earth. Your mind will become incredibly, dangerously clear. The chronic tension in your stomach, the persistent anxiety of waiting for a text message, the heavy, dull ache of feeling unchosen, it will completely dissolve into the rich, fertile soil of this Taurus energy. You are going to look back at the relationship, the complex dynamic, the endless cycles of hot and cold, the broken promises, and the rivers of tears you cried in secret, and you are going to feel nothing but a calm, clinical, highly elevated detachment. The emotional charge will be completely neutralized by the grounded reality of Taurus. You will look at them not as your destiny, and certainly not as your project, but exactly as they are, a deeply wounded human being who requires a level of sacrifice that you are no longer willing or energetically able to provide. But here is the most fascinating, complex, and highly predictable part of this energetic shift on April 12, and you must listen very closely with your entire being so you are deeply prepared for what is about to manifest in your physical reality. Let us talk about the severing of the cord and the phenomenon of the final test. In the unseen realms, in the quantum field where all connection actually originates, energy is entirely about frequency matching. For months or years, you have been holding this person up in the astral realm by being their invisible, tireless, energetic battery. Even when you are not speaking, even when you are physically thousands of miles apart, you are actively, constantly directing a massive, glowing stream of your vital life force directly into their aura by holding on to the dream of them. They felt this. They unconsciously, selfishly relied on this. Your unseen, spiritual devotion was the invisible anchor that allowed them to stay in the dark so comfortably, to ignore your boundaries so casually. They knew they had unlimited access to your high vibrational healing without having to take an ounce of responsibility for their own shadow. But as the powerful, grounded, self-preserving energy of Venus in Taurus takes full hold of your spirit, you are going to finally, permanently, and ruthlessly cut that energetic cord. You are going to take your immense, golden, valuable light. You are going to unplug it from their hollow vessel, and you are going to fiercely redirect it into your own massive, beautiful, luxurious expansion. When you do this, they are going to feel the drop in temperature. They will feel it instantly. A sudden, chilling, unexplained darkness will enter their reality. The unconditional healing and belief you unknowingly provided will simply vanish overnight. They will feel an unexplained emptiness. They will suddenly realize they are standing in the cold, and the person who was their unconditional, fighting sun has moved to another galaxy and locked the door. Because of this massive energetic disruption, because the healer has left the battlefield, they are going to experience a sudden, desperate panic. This is why the universe operates with such profound, almost comical irony. The exact moment you truly, authentically, down to your very bones, no longer care if they ever heal, that is the exact, precise moment they will feel desperately, obsessively compelled to call you and confess. They will hover in your energy field like a ghost trying to find a way back into a heart that has finally become too solid, too expensive, and too grounded for them. They will likely start manifesting in your three-dimensional reality in highly predictable, high-intensity ways. They might send a completely explosive text message declaring their undying love after months of silence. They might try to use a crisis to pull you back into their shadow, claiming they are going through so much, and only you understand. They will throw a massive, chaotic, Neptunian bomb in your direction to see if you are still addicted to the illusion. They want to check if you will still pick up your sword and dive into the darkness to save them. They want to see if the transformation service is still open. In the past, this is exactly where you would have stumbled. This is where your heart would have raced, your mind would have gone into absolute overdrive, and you would have immediately, eagerly broken all of your hard-earned boundaries to save them one last time. You would have convinced yourself this was it. This was the breakthrough, the turning point, the moment they finally chose the light. You would have abandoned your own throne of abundance all over again, compromising your expansion just for a temporary, fleeting moment of their transformation. But not this time, because the you that existed before the energy of April 12 is gone. The version of you that was willing to trade your abundance, your peace, your nervous system regulation, and your sanity for a temporary, anxiety-inducing hit of their healing is dead. When they reach out, when they circle back with their intense, dramatic, chaotic energy, you are going to experience the ultimate, final test of your new timeline. The universe is going to hand you this test not to punish you, but to allow you to prove to yourself how profoundly you have grounded into your worth. And you are going to pass it with flying, undeniable, unshakable colors. You are going to look at their drama. You are going to look at their attempt to pull you back into the hazy battlefield, and you are going to feel absolute, unshakable boredom. No panic, no desperate hope, no urge to fix anything, no desire to call your friends to endlessly analyze the psychological depth of their manipulation. You will simply observe it, like a detached, highly elevated queen or king sitting on a solid throne, watching a very predictable, low-budget illusion fade away. You will not respond out of anger. You will not type out a long, paragraphs-deep explanation of why they are too late or how much they tried to drain you. You will not demand the truth you used to beg for on your hands and knees. You will realize that the highest truth is not their explanation. The highest truth is your own profound, luxurious, undeniable silence. Finality is an internal, unilateral, energetic decision to simply remain seated in your worth. You will leave them on read, both digitally and energetically. You will protect your peace, your body, and your abundance with the absolute ferocity of a force of nature guarding its most sacred, fertile ground. This is the exact moment your entirely new romantic reality is born. By refusing to engage with the dark, lower-frequency illusion of the past, by refusing to step back onto the exhausting battlefield you just spent months fighting to escape, you are sending the most powerful, undeniable, high-vibrational frequency out to the universe. You are declaring, with absolute, unshakable finality, that your growth, your peace, and your worth are entirely non-negotiable. You are showing the universe that you finally know your exact, undeniable price. And because of this, your entire romantic and energetic blueprint is being fundamentally rewritten from the ground up by Venus in Taurus. You are realizing that true, authentic, soul-aligned love does not feel like a high-stakes struggle or a dark, confusing mystery you have to solve. It does not feel like an agonizing labor you have to perform. It does not require you to constantly suppress your own expansion, to decode mixed signals, or to perform exhausting emotional sacrifices just to be deemed worthy of basic human decency, respect, and consistency. True love feels like deep, profound nervous system regulation. True love feels like resting. It feels incredibly, almost shockingly expansive and profoundly safe. It is a connection that is tangible, real, and consistently present. It is a love that shows up, pays the bills of the heart, cooks the meals, holds your hand in public, and never, ever makes you guess where you stand. It is a connection where your highest standards are met with immense, easy consistency, where your physical and emotional safety is not just celebrated, but actively, ruthlessly protected, and where you never have to spend a single second trying to prove you are worthy of being chosen. The transformative planetary shift of April 12 is clearing the heavy illusions out of the executive suite of your soul. It is throwing open the massive double doors, letting the brilliant, blinding, incredibly stable light of your infinite worth flood into the room. Because you have finally created this massive, beautiful, solid foundation within yourself. Because you have finally stopped building your house on the toxic, shifting sands of their unhealed potential, you are now highly, dangerously, undeniably magnetic. But you must understand this massive shift in your magnetism. You are no longer magnetic to the wounded, broken, illusionary souls who need you to be their spiritual soldier. You have officially retired from the job of crisis manager for the emotionally avoidant. You are no longer a beacon for energy vampires who want to steal your vital life force because they are too lazy or too terrified to generate their own. You are now exclusively, powerfully magnetic to the aligned, conscious, fully embodied, highly stable individuals who have done their own heavy lifting. You are attracting an energetic frequency that perfectly, flawlessly matches your new, highly elevated vibration of radical self-worth. You are calling in a partner who is ready to meet you in your absolute, radiant, physical wholeness, someone who wants to stand shoulder to shoulder with you on solid ground and build an empire of abundance, physical touch, deep joy, and mutual, consistent expansion. But you cannot rush this final stage of the process. You cannot fake this dense, beautiful Taurus vibration. You cannot bypass the necessary surrender of the illusion to get to the grounding. If you feel the overwhelming need to claim your high standards today, to write down your impossible, luxurious goals, or to stand in front of the mirror and say, "I am the prize, and I am wildly expensive with pride," I want you to do it. Let the sound of your own boundaries be your medicine. Do not tell yourself you are being demanding. Understand that your standard is not a sign of greed. It is the literal, physical manifestation of your divinity. It is the sacred sound of your soul reclaiming its infinite inheritance. Allow yourself to fully, deeply, and gently honor the version of you that had to go through that painful, dark, exhausting battlefield just to get to this necessary, embodied awakening. Forgive yourself for all of it. Say it out loud right now. Wherever you are, let your physical voice vibrate in the air. I forgive myself for staying much longer than my intuition told me to. I forgive myself for fighting for an illusion. I forgive myself for loving someone who was fundamentally incapable of seeing my reality. I forgive myself for ignoring the glaring red flags because I was so mesmerized by the potential. I forgive myself for abandoning my own body, my own peace, and my own worth to save someone else. You did the absolute best you could with the emotional tools and the level of awareness you had at that time. Do not punish the past version of yourself for not knowing what you know now. You have significantly better tools today. You have a sharper, undeniable vision. You have built an impenetrable, glowing, solid shield of radical self-respect. The future that is rushing toward you right now, taking root in your newly cleared, deeply fertile timeline, is so incredibly stable, so vast, and so profoundly beautiful that it would completely shock the anxious, exhausted version of you from 6 months ago. The love that is coming for you, the true, authentic, aligned, deeply physical partnership that the universe has been preparing while you were busy learning these brutal lessons will not require you to shrink a single inch. It will not require you to constantly explain your worth or beg for basic consistency. It will arrive naturally, effortlessly, and organically, feeling like coming home to a warm, brightly lit house, entirely devoid of the painful games, the silent treatments, and the exhausting chaos you were once so tragically addicted to. But it all starts right here. It starts right now. The very moment these words settle into your consciousness, it starts with you making a sacred, unbreakable, completely non-negotiable vow to yourself that you will never, ever again abandon your own solid ground, your own peace, and your own high value just to keep someone else safe in their smallness and confusion. It starts with you fully acknowledging that the painful, exhausting connection you have been holding onto with a white-knuckled grip was merely a turbulent bridge to your spiritual grounding. Not your final, beautiful destination, it was the harsh, necessary catalyst that forced you to look within, to heal your deepest wounds of scarcity, and to finally, irrevocably choose your own magnificent, undeniable greatness over anyone else's illusion. You are ready. You have always been ready. The universe was simply waiting for you to get tired of the battle. The universe was simply waiting for you to realize your own immense, staggering power to drop the sword and claim the entire kingdom. The profound, igniting, and deeply grounding astrological energy of April 12 is the powerful cosmic anchor dropping down, securing you gently but incredibly firmly into the new, elevated, abundant reality you always deserved but were too busy fighting to claim. Take one final, deep, incredibly grounding breath. Place both of your hands firmly over your heart center, feeling the physical weight of your own touch. Close your eyes. Feel the steady, reliable, powerful, unshakable vibration of your own existence beneath your palms. Feel the warm blood flowing through your veins. Feel the gravity holding you perfectly, safely to the earth. That is your ultimate truth. That is your magic. That is your true, permanent, deeply safe home. Everything outside of this physical body is just an experience, just a temporary reflection of where you were at a certain point in time. But this center, this beautiful, glowing, untouchable, highly valuable core within you is entirely yours, and it is completely impervious to anyone else's chaos, confusion, or darkness. If this message entirely bypassed your logical, analyzing mind and spoke directly, intimately, and physically to your spirit, if you felt the profound, bodily shift in your energy, the sudden grounding of your feet, the loosening of the anxious tension in your stomach, as you listen to these exact words, do not let this powerful, paradigm-shifting moment pass unacknowledged. Like this space, do this not out of digital habit, but as a deliberate, physical, silent declaration to the universe that you are finally, truly, and undeniably ready to receive the absolute best, the profound peace, the immense luxury, and the staggering, consistent love that is unfolding for you. Share your journey in the space below. Declare your worth. Declare your retirement from the battlefield. Let your words serve as an energetic, physical anchor for your brand new, incredibly stable timeline. There is immense, undeniable, world-shifting power in witnessing each other's spiritual awakening and realizing you are not walking this difficult, painful path of reclamation alone. Your story, your exact words, your brave moment of realization might be the exact validation someone else desperately needs to read today to keep themselves from picking up the sword and stepping back into the confusing fog. Subscribe to this frequency to remain deeply, solidly connected to this high, unshakable vibration as we continue to navigate these profound, life-altering cosmic shifts together in the coming months. Breathe in the absolute, crystal-clear, incredibly solid reality of this present moment. Fill your physical vessel with the vibrant, golden, dense energy of your completely new beginning. Exhale the heavy, tired, pathetic echoes of the past illusions and the ghosts you used to fight for. Blow them away into the ether, where they belong. You are profoundly safe. You are completely sovereign. You are beautifully, miraculously, and undeniably whole. And your completely new, wildly beautiful, deeply grounded reality has already arrived. Welcome home to your greatness.